Hello, my name is Shakey from the Hellfreaks, and you are listening Rhino Radio.
Or of Rhino Radio here today, and I have the pleasure and the honor of saying hello to Shaky Sue of the Hell Freaks. How are you doing today?
Hello. I'm doing so great. Thank you so much, and thank you first of all for having me today.
Well, it's my pleasure. I've been enjoying your album, God on the Run, for a few months now, and I've just realized that it turned a year already since it was
Yeah.
released. It's been a crazy year. How have you been managing it?
Well, it is really crazy because it doesn't feel like the album was released a year ago. The time just disappeared. Um, look, we try to stay active, of course. We use the time for being creative and stuff like that. But on the other side, I also have to be honest that after a year, it starts to get really hard. It's the quarantine that we're all the time in our own flats, that we can't go out, and that it's winter and that it's dark. It's getting a bit much after a year.
Is it easier or more difficult to go through quarantine with four cats?
I think it's much better to have four cats. I couldn't imagine my life without cats. I always had cats like in the last 12, 13, 14 years. So I'm really used to have these little predators around me. And and yeah, so maybe it's good to say that if you hear some strange sound, it's always because of the cats.
Oh, it's just blame the cats. There's a ghost, but no, it's the cats.
No, it's the cats. Yeah,
It's
I
always
have
the
four. I
cats.
have four cats, and I don't have a garden, so we are in a flat. And of course, when they are bored, they are doing like crazy things.
Whatever they want.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on kind of the beginning of you and also how it affects kind of your perception of life. If I'm mistaken, you live in Hungary, but you also lived in Germany and Austria. And obviously, the dream, it feels like music is always coming from the UK and the US. Do you feel like either specifically regarding music or in general as well, your location, where you're born, where you live, do you feel like it's affecting your path in life or maybe even success? Or is it something that just the UK and the US feel?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that the passion for music came because of I grew up. Because I grew up in Austria. I was there. My first 10 years, I lived in Vienna, and then we moved with my family to Hungary. And later on, when I finished university, I moved for a couple of years to Berlin. But then I moved back to Hungary. So I'm still now in my hometown in Budapest. Um, I don't really think that any of that had an effect on me to be a musician and to have a band. I think this comes from something totally else because when I grew up, I started to do gymnastics in Austria, but I continued in Hungary, and when I continued in Hungary, it was way more serious and had a way more strict training. Actually, we trained much more, and we had a. I'm sorry for saying that, but I had a much more professional trainer. So sport gets serious for me here in Hungary, and then when I was 14 years, I had an injury and I had to stop it. And what brought me to music was the moment that I lost something in my life, and I had a lot of time and I had to fill it somehow, and that's why I started to do music. But I didn't have any plans when I started with music. It was really just to find back to the path, find back to myself, and then later on it just started to grow.
And as you said, you started as a gymnast, and
Yeah,
then I think your introduction to music was actually as a drummer.
yeah.
And I know that the band started on one genre, and now you're more on the punk metal rock side. I was wondering if you ever have some sort of a moment in life, or maybe a few of them, when you just think, kind of do an introspection, thinking, what do I want to do? Is it just like you flow? Is it more planned and you meditate and you overanalyze everything, or you just que sera, sera sort of thing?
Mm, no, I think I mean kind of both. So the fact that I'm having a band, it is, especially as you're like, it's getting year by year more complicated. It's super easy when you're a student because then you have more time and life is just easier. But after that, when you're just getting to the point that you have to earn money as well, and you have to organize your life in a way that you should be able to do both, earn money and live for your passion, then it's got really tricky. So to be able to do that, yes, I had to think about it a lot and to plan a lot. And I think for me, my main driving force is that my dad, he always worked in a job that he at the beginning he really loved it, but at the age he really hated it. And I saw that he's going to work every day and he just hates what he's doing. And I saw that when I was in the beginning of my teenager years, and I had the fixed idea that I don't want to end up like this. I need something that I burn for, and I need passion and something that makes me happy. Doesn't matter how hard it is getting, and I mean it is hard. And later on, when I went to university, I studied something totally different than what I'm doing now because I studied as an environmental engineer. And when I got my degree, I just realized that if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to work as an engineer, I will not have time for music. So then I had to replan my life again and start to figure out what is the job that I can do actually, and that is maybe also somehow supporting my music. And that's how I end up in doing online marketing in real gray life. And but it was really hard to find a place where it was okay that I can also do my band, because it's also like eating a lot of time to have a band. So this um, so at this point, to have a band, that was really, it contained a lot of planning, and it also contained a lot of doing the right or the wrong decision. We'll see.
Yeah, one of the perks of
um,
being an adult.
yeah, kind of.
So I
But
wanted,
then on the other hand, what you said, that how we developed the music, that's something way more that just came naturally. When I started to do music, I was really much into psychobilly. All my friends came from the psychobilly scene. I really lived that scene and that life and everything, and I loved it. So when I started to do music, especially as a drummer, it was out of question that I'm doing anything else, because I did not have any plan to, I don't know, have a big band. It was just more like, let's be an active member of the scene. And that's how it started. And of course, after a time, especially, I got really bored of it, because we recorded 2 albums in that genre, and after 2 albums I really felt like I'm just bored. I'm doing the same thing. I'm not able to develop, because every time I'm trying something new, we just say, oh, it's not fitting to the genre. So it wasn't cool at all for me. And that's why we also had a moment in 2014 when we split up as a band, and then came back more or less by accident, because we just got an invitation to the US based Ink and Iron Festival. And when that invitation, my old drummer said, like, let's restart the band, and let's restart it with a mindset that that we really felt our own. And the mindset was that let's do whatever we want musically. And it started with much more punk rock, and later on with new members, and also with the years it got spiced up with metal. So that's the type of music that we're playing is really much more like how it feels right for us. It's not planned.
so if I catch you on a stage now, are you only playing the latest 2 albums, or you're spicing everything
No,
up, even taking the psychobilly and turning it a bit more metal? What can we expect from your set?
we're still playing old songs. Not that much, but of course we're still playing them because they are part of the band. But you have to know that since we wrote that song, we had a lot of change in the members. We had a lot of new members in the band. So, and every time someone is joining the band, we never said that you have to play it exactly the way how we played before, because otherwise, I mean, if I would say that, I think it's like I would say don't be the person who you are. So that would be fake. And I don't want to be surrounded by fake people because that's not working. So we're always saying like, this is a song and you can change it the way how you feel, how it feels good to you. And that's why, of course, the songs sound now a bit more punkish, metalish. um, and also we don't have a double bass on the stage since 6 years now. Yeah. So also the instruments change a bit, but I'm super happy about it. So we're still playing old songs, but of course, honestly, I'm enjoying to playing more the new songs. But I think that's the case at every artist, because when you're playing your songs on and on, the new songs are the ones which are new to you.
So you've touched on that honesty and authenticity. That's something that you're really passionate about. So I want to confront you with a rumor that I found online. Your
Oh,
fans know how passionate you are about your music and replying to fans. So they know that you're writing some new music. I think you already mentioned that there's something coming out and
yeah.
maybe even something this year. So your fans are thinking that one of the inspirations to the upcoming song is your favorite website. Let me Google that for you. Is there a song about Let Me Google That for you?
No.
No.
Oh, honestly, the let me Google that for you is a pretty big running gag, especially um, when people just asking stuff that you can just literally find with one click on the internet. And when I found the page, I don't know if you people know it, but there is a page which is called Let Me Google That for you. It looks the same like the Google page, and the only thing that happens that you can see that someone is typing whatever the question was into the field, and then it show how the search results, and the whole process is like filmed, and the people and the person who asked that question will get the whole process, and then the person will understand. And maybe sometimes it's easier just to Google instead of asking someone.
So that's not going to be a main theme in the upcoming
I mean,
lyrics.
look, like stupid people are often my main team. They are often inspiration to me, so maybe it's kind of inspiration. And I don't know. Yeah, I know. Maybe I should use it as a line. It's a good idea. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's talk about the upcoming release. You already released an acoustic version of Red Sky from the previous album,
Yeah.
and there are some teases that you already completed, either a song or even more than that. You're looking into an album either at the end of the year or next year. What can you tell us about that?
Okay, that's not really hard because I can't tell you a lot, but I can tell you that because of the new album, we have some fucking amazing news, and I just can't wait to share it with the people because that's something really big for the band, and I'm sure that this is really a big step for the band. But at this point, I'm just not allowed to share it.
Even
But
if
yes,
it's just the two of us here.
we already wrote two new songs, and one of the new songs already has a music video, and I'm like super proud of both of them because again, it's like it's of course it's kind of like got on the run, but again, a next step for the band, and again, it has some plus on spice on top. Um, and of course, I'm really enjoying it what we're doing now, and I just can't wait to share it with the people. But I, actually, I have really no idea when the moment comes that we can share the first song of it. But yes, we are working on a new album, and the plan is that we're going to release it in next year, beginning of next year.
Okay, I'll be there waiting and I'll share with our listeners as well.
Okay.
Um, I want to talk a little bit about staying positive. In the past, you said that it's really hard for you to write positive songs. And obviously, the last year was difficult, different, challenging. I was wondering if you find it even more difficult to stay positive, or you actually channeled all those feelings into writing and kind of resurfaced from that and became more positive in life, but less in art. So, how did you find the balance? What helped you kind of come on top of 2020?
um, I never understand the cliche that artists are always saying. And I know that in the beginning of my career, I also said that, but I just realized that it's not true, that writing music is a healing process. And then I just realized that, fuck no. It's like, I mean, when I'm writing lyrics, I force myself, and I always feel like it's still not good enough. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. You have to rewrite it. You have to rethink it. You have to. So it's a quite hard process. Still, I am personally satisfied with the lyrics that I write, and when the lyric is finished, I'm also not feeling healed. The only thing that is like really positive is when you hear the whole result, when you hear the record itself, then it's a great feeling because you know that wow, we did something together that will like be here forever because music will not disappear. Even we disappear, our music will never disappear, and that's an amazing feeling. But that's like just the happiness about the result and not really the healing process when I'm writing. Um, it's true that when it comes to lyrics, it's quite dark. Um, this pretty much comes from that, or I think that comes from because when I started to my first step in music, it was a dark time in my life, and always, and this was always a kind of force that helped me to do this. That because as I said, I started to do music to fill out a gap in my life, and that's why always when something really hard happens, or when it's just dark thoughts or whatever, that is my muse. What makes me write, and when I'm happy, I'm like, cool, I'm happy. But what? I mean, it's a great feeling, but I'm just somehow not. I don't really feel the message in it what I can share with people. But when it's getting hard, and especially when I got out of it, then I feel the reason for it. And it's when we started to work on the new record last year, I was really afraid because I thought that whoa, nothing happens. So what can I write about? I really felt like I have no idea what can I write about. Nothing happens. And then I just realized that, oh no, there's so much crazy things going on in your head. You're full with ideas. so so for me, lyric wise, it's not a problem that I'm sitting at home because all the everything I need is in my head and it happens in my head, and it's also happening when I'm like closed in my own flat.
So another thing that I'm guessing you've done loads in 2020 is probably watching films and shows. And I really like how I can find some tributes in a lot of your videos. I felt like The Craft, the old witchcraft film, was inspiring some of the bits in your videos. And the latest one felt like Run Lola Run a little bit. I was wondering if there are any films that you think that your fans need to watch because it inspired you and made you a better person. So are there any recommendations recently?
Ooh.
Too many.
No, the thing is that I'm like, I mean, of course, in the last year, I watched way more films and movies and series than I should. um, I don't think that they directly like influence the music videos. Maybe just like I don't know. Somehow it happened. Um, I don't know. Sorry, I just watched like too many series of movies right now. I would have to think about it, and I just don't have any idea immediately.
No problem. So before we say goodbye, we said that God on the Run is already out now. I've really enjoyed the acoustic version of Red Sky that got a video as well, so our fans or listeners can watch it and enjoy it as well. Is there anything else you want to add to fans and listeners before we say goodbye?
Sure. You should really, really, really subscribe now on our YouTube channel and check the social media pages because I think just around in a good week after this interview is going to release, after that a week, we will have a new video for you guys, which is for one of the songs of God on the Run. And it's not an acoustic version of the song.
Okay, great stuff. Thank you very much, Shakey Sue of the Hellfreaks. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. It was great.